So the garden is still very much sleeping right now, especially after the 18 or so inches of snow that we got this past weekend. But that's okay, because while it rests, I'm thinking about the spring color that I want to have around my house within the next couple of months. So today I'm actually going to be planting some violas, and I wanted to take you along with me. So violas are a beautiful spring flower, and they also come around in the fall because they like cooler temperatures. They kind of start to perish and fade a little bit during those summer months, but you see them all over during the early springtime and the late fall season because they can handle a light frost. Sometimes they can handle a little bit of a heavier frost, and I even know in some areas they tend to be perennial and come back every year. The two varieties that I'm going to be planting, the first one I got from Baker's Creek. It is called Floral Days Morning Dew. It is a very vibrant yellow with some darker purple edging around the edges of the flower. And then from Johnny's Creek, I got, from Johnny Select Seeds, I got Floral Power Plum Antique, which is very difficult to say if you try to say that quickly. And I think from what I saw online, these two color combos would do very well with each other, because to me online it looked like the Johnny Seed one had similar colors but much softer yellows and much softer purples. So I'm hoping the two of them combined would work well together. Now I'm starting these a little bit early. So my average last frost date in this area is April 20th. So if I look at a calendar and I count backwards from there, I'm still about 12 weeks out from my projected last frost date. According to the seed packet, I should be sowing these seeds 8 to 10 weeks prior to my last frost date. But the other thing the seed packet says that it takes anywhere from 60 to 85 days for it to flower, depending on which variety I'm looking at, which means that puts me around mid-April for it to start flowering, which to me is going to be perfect time to start getting these outside and getting that color going around my house. So that's really more of what I'm thinking about too, is when these are actually going to be flowering. Because I really don't want them to be flowering too late in the season, because by that point, then the heat sets in and then we've kind of moved on to our next round of plants. Now I've already pre-moistened my soil, which is really, really important. You never want to put your seeds into dry soil and then water them, because it will most likely displace them and cause a bigger mess than you really want to deal with. So really make sure to moisten your soil before planting your seeds. And you just want to make sure that it's wet enough where if you squeeze it, it stays in a clump, but no excess water is dripping out. Now I'm going to be using these pots that I purchased from Bootstrap Farmer. I've had them for a handful of years now. They're fantastic. They're completely indestructible. In fact, I even dug some out from the snow early this morning because I needed them for this project. So while you don't necessarily need to buy them from Bootstrap Farmer, there are lots of other sources out there that carry ones that seem to be very heavy duty and durable. I know that there are some YouTubers online, like I know Kevin from Epic Gardening and James from, I believe his channel is called The Gardening Channel. He actually has a homestead here in New Jersey. I believe they have very similar products. I don't have any experience with them, but I trust them to be good sources if you want to check them out. But that's only if you want to go ahead and invest in these, and sometimes they can get a little bit pricey. So if you don't want to invest in them, go ahead and get a cheaper version, sometimes maybe at Home Depot or even the dollar store. Just know that you're probably going to have to replace some of those every year or every couple of years. Now, what I would highly recommend that you look for is to make sure that it has this bottom watering reservoir. So basically, these containers come and they sit in this tray, and then they sit in a second tray that actually is where you water your seedlings, because you want to make sure you are constantly bottom watering them. You don't want to overhead water any of the seedlings, because it could cause a lot of damage to them that they don't necessarily recover from. The other thing this bottom reservoir does is it also buys you a little bit of time, because rather than going and making sure your seedlings have water every single day, you can actually just check them every other day for water to make sure that bottom reservoir hasn't run dry yet. The last thing that I would say is really helpful in terms of a setup is having a humidity dome. This you only need until the seedlings start to germinate, and then you want to make sure you remove it. If you don't remove it in time, the seedlings will be susceptible to something called damping off, which is basically a fungus that attacks the stem of the seedling, and it basically just looks like it's snapped off and the seedling dies pretty much immediately. So you want to make sure you move that in time to make sure that there's enough air circulation around the seedling. The last thing I use is a heat map, just one that I purchased off Amazon. They're not prohibitively expensive, but they do help in the germination process. Now, these are all just suggestions. They're absolutely not necessary, but I have found that they've made my whole seed starting process a little bit smoother, and they have been very, very helpful. But there's always other options out there. So now let's go ahead and get started and get these seeds in the dirt. All right, we have sown all of our seeds. Now, I was pretty heavy-handed in terms of how many seeds I placed per cell. Typically, I would only do 2, 3, maybe 4 seeds per cell, and doing it that way can really help you not have to up-pot these seedlings as they grow. But because I'm thinking down the road, I'm going to be doing a lot more seeds in the upcoming weeks, I'm really trying to conserve space, which may or may not bite me in the butt later on down the road. So we shall see. So instead of doing 3 to 4, I didn't really count because I was just kind of tapping them out of the envelopes themselves. But I would guesstimate that probably there was about 10 to 12. That may be way too much. I have no idea. We shall wait and see. But hopefully everything will be okay, because like I said, I'm really just trying to conserve space as I start more seeds for the next couple of weeks. So now all that's left to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put the humidity dome on, and I'm going to place it on the heat mat behind me. Now I'm going to place it on the heat mat. Now this does say on the seed packet that it takes anywhere from 4 to 7 days to germinate. So once I start seeing about half the tray germinated, that's when I take the humidity dome off. I remove it off the heat mat, and I place it under my grow lights downstairs. And my grow lights are really just glorified LED lights. They're nothing special. The one thing that I do make sure of, though, is on the LED lights, I do make sure that they're relatively close to the top of the seed tray. Not touching the seed tray, and definitely not touching your seedlings, but maybe about an inch or so above the seedlings. And obviously, as your seedlings are growing, you need to start moving that grow light or LED light up higher so they never actually touch each other, because that could cause some damage to the seedling. The reason why you want it to be so close to the seedling is you want to make sure it's getting enough intense bright light so that it's not going to be leggy, because once you get leggy seedlings, it's very hard to kind of rectify them, and it just doesn't, the plant is not as strong as it could potentially be. So I'm just going to pop this on the heat mat, and then I'm going to take you downstairs, and I'm going to give you an update on the Lysianthus and the foxglove seedlings that we did a couple of weeks ago. So here they are. You can see that I have my LED light right over the top of the tray, very, very close to seedlings. We have our foxglove Camelot Rose. We have our foxglove Dalmatian Peach. And then we have our teeny tiny Lysianthus seedlings that are barely visible. So everything so far is looking pretty good. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below what seeds you're going to start this season, or if you've even started already, or if you're just not doing seeds at all. Hope you guys have found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.